Following the success of New Super Mario Bros. DS and New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Nintendo decided to release a third game in the series, and thus was born New Super Mario Bros. 2. As stupid as this may sound, it was called New Super Mario Bros. 2 because it is meant to be a direct sequel to the DS game, so it doesn't have the silly things the Wii version had, like spin jumps, 4 players multiplayer, and Yoshi. Everybody hated those, good riddance. Anyways, one thing that wasn't destroyed was the mini mushroom power-up. That tiny blue mushroom that turns you into a blob of pixels you can barely see? This made me wonder, can we beat the entire game that way? The rules are simple. We are going to be playing all of the 6 worlds in New Super Mario Bros. 2 one after another, and all of this while staying as Mini Mario if possible. This means we won't be able to try out any of the new power-ups like the coin flower and the super leaf, as these power-ups make us bigger. While in the Mini Mario form, every enemy kills us in one hit, so we'll have to be super careful while playing that way. Speaking of, defeating those enemies will also be more difficult for us, as simply jumping on their heads doesn't work anymore. Instead, we'll have to do a ground pound attack if we want to damage them. The gravity is also a little bit different as Mini Mario, making you floatier than Big Mario. Getting mini mushrooms is not possible in World 1-1, so we'll have to grab it from a later level. And World 5-3 does contain one in this invisible block over there. Now that everything has been set, let's see if we can beat New Super Mario Bros. 2 as Mini Mario. Here we go. World 1-1 starts off easy, containing a few Goombas here and there, but mostly what you'll see here are coins. Yup, I forgot to mention it, but this game is all about coins. Coins here, coins there, coins everywhere. Good thing I'm not doing a without a coin episode today, I'd have a headache for sure. 1-2 takes place underground, and most of the Koopas in this stage are locked behind some blocks. You have to hit POW blocks to free them. I wonder what those poor Koopas did to Bowser to be locked behind cages like this. I almost feel bad for them. 1-3 is up, and this stage contains a couple of snake blocks moving on platforms. I don't know if we are supposed to be threatened by those, but it sure doesn't work. 1-Tower is also filled with snake blocks moving left and right. You'll have to time your jumps right if you want to make your way to the top. The low gravity of Mini Mario doesn't really make the ascension up the tower any more difficult, so you'll soon reach the boss, Reznor. As you know, defeating Reznor is a total joke. You can't really die. What? I died to Reznor? So yeah, pro tip, as Mini Mario you can actually get squished by the moving blocks, so be wary of that. 1-4 contains a couple of moving and tilting mushroom platforms. There's a lot of Koopa and Goombas on your path, but by being careful, you'll soon reach the flagpole. 1-5 takes place underwater, and this stage does contain a lot of Cheep Cheeps and those purple ones that follow you around for a while. Thankfully, you can swim around all of these obstacles and you'll soon reach the end. 1-Castle does contain its fair share of lava bubble enemies. Thankfully, there's typically always a rope you can hang onto or some platforms to stand on to avoid turning into a roasted Mario chicken. Dodge the evil thwomp to reach the first boss, Roy Koopa. And this dumb dude just keeps running left and right and hits his own head against the wall, giving him a concussion and giving you a lot of time to do a ground pound attack. What a dum-dum. 2-1 does contain a couple of evil piranha plants that are awaiting a fresh snack if you end up falling in between the moving block platforms, so just make sure that doesn't happen and this level will be done. 2-2 takes place on those weird totem pole platforms, but it's a pretty easy level to be honest. The main difficulty comes from the many hammer and boomerang bros. Avoid the things they throw and avoid the final thick hammer bros and you'll be good. 2-3 is an underground cave that contains a fair share of pokies and other spiky enemies, so make sure to dodge them all. 2-Tower is full of moving blocks that can potentially crush you if you're not paying attention, but we've seen this over and over again, this is nothing new for us. Just time your moves and jumps and you'll reach Res Nor. Hit the blocks from underneath to defeat those big bad dinosaurs. In 2-Ghost House, you'll have to avoid some boos, which is what always happens in a ghost house, but this time you have to escape the Thick Boo! Whoa, this boy is big. Keep running to the right and dodge the obstacles along the way until you reach the end. 2-4 takes place in those pyramid-shaped blocks. You'll have to climb on those while avoiding all of the falling enemies, including those fire snakes that are super dangerous for us. Thankfully, this stage is very short, so you'll reach the end very quickly. 2-5 is full of chain chumps that would love a bite of that Mario booty, but thankfully they're all stuck to a pole, so they can't really move to attack you, so just jump over them and you'll be good. 2-Castle wants you to hop aboard this weird raft that only moves when you're standing on it. This will force you to be patient and avoid a couple of enemies here and there. I kinda like this platform and will not say no to seeing this in Super Mario Maker 2. Just saying, Nintendo, if you're watching this, you know what to do. No, not demonetize me! No. To defeat Iggy Koopa, just wait for his pet Chain Chomp to move him down, leaving him vulnerable, and do some epic ground pound attacks. Easy. 3-1 takes place on a beach with some water on the way, but since we are Mini Mario, we can actually run on water, so this makes this level super easy. You can basically hold down right for the entire stage and nothing will ever hurt you. 3-2 takes place underwater and contains many dangerous things like Cheep Cheeps, urchins, baby urchins, and evil water tornadoes that want to suck you down to your doom. The only difficult part is at the end where you have to swim in between urchins and snake blocks. All of this while being chased by two fast swimming fishes. And these guys have wall hacks on and they can go through walls, which is totally unfair. Ban those dudes please, come on, they're cheating. 3-3 will ask you to climb on the many spider webs if you want to reach the end alive. This level also marks the return of those spider enemies from New Super Mario Bros. DS, and once more, just bounce on them to make your way to the end. 3-Tower is an auto-scroller underwater vertical level. Woo! All of the ingredients for a very mediocre stage are reunited. This tower contains lots of moving blocks, fish bones, skewers, and other things that are meant to kill you. But since everything will defeat you in one hit, you'll have to be very careful and avoid all of those things. This stage is very nerve-wracking. One thing that isn't scary is the boss, Res Nor. Hit the block and he's gonna go bye-bye. 3-4 contains some poison water that kills you if you touch it, but thankfully you can just bounce on the many crates along the way to reach the end. 3-Ghost House contains many rooms, fake doors, and secret paths to find, so yeah, basically a typical ghost house. After wasting too long on fake doors, you'll eventually, and thankfully, reach the end. 3-5 is another underwater stage, and this one is really terrifying. First off, there are lots of fast-moving bloopers out for blood, and there are some huge boulders rolling at you, so not only do you have to dodge those bloopers, you're also forced to swim and hide from the evil boulders. Oof, this one's scary. 3-Castle contains lots of saws moving on rails. There's even bouncing saws on the path. The low gravity jump mechanic makes the stage a little bit more complicated, but if you take your time, you can actually reach the boss quite easily. Wendy Koopa is kinda slow to defeat, as you absolutely have to swim and dodge the Cheep Cheeps underwater before you can actually do a ground pound attack. 4-1 is a stage filled with micro Goombas. Finally, enemies my size. What is not my size are those big spiky boulders rolling around the stage. Watch out for those as you climb this mountain and you'll soon reach the end. 4-Ghost House takes place in between two walls. Yup, this stage is kind of a fake auto-scroller stage as you can only move when the walls move as well. This makes it a little bit more difficult as you'd want to avoid getting crushed, but it's gonna be okay. 4-2 contains lots of enemies, especially Koopa Troopas. These guys are literally everywhere. There's also lots of evil plants in those red pipes, so you'll have to time your moves and watch out for that. 4-Tower takes place on a frozen elevator platform that constantly gets swarmed with evil enemies. It is time like those where I miss the ability to walk on walls as Mini Mario. I wish they didn't cut that mechanic as well. The Reznor fight is kinda easy, as usual. 4-3 is an icy level allowing you to slide your way through the first section. You'll have to be careful during this part as it contains lots of evil plants, but by being careful, you'll soon slide your way to the end. 4-4 contains lots of scale lift platforms, but if you move fast enough, you won't even tilt them, making this stage a total walk in the park. 4-5 takes place underwater once again, except this time around there's gonna be more evil hungry cheeps that wanna eat you alive. Thankfully, there's always more than enough space to avoid them all. 4-Castle is filled with spiky boulders moving left and right. There's also a couple falling down from the ceiling. Oh, and did I mention the many fire bars along the way? As you can see, there's lots of things out to end your career, but by being careful, you'll be able to make it alive to the boss, Morton. This dude is a joke. Just avoid the spiky boulders, move up, and do a ground pound on his head, and then repeat this 3 times, and voila! 5-1 contains those ropes, and as Mini Mario, they make you bounce super high in the sky. Keeping that in mind, watch out to not over or undershoot your jumps, and you'll be good. 5-2 is home of our best buddy, Lakitu. And this dude is super annoying, especially when there's 2 Lakitus at once. Ugh. Avoiding all of the spinies they throw at you is quite difficult, especially on those small square platforms over there. I eventually got sick of dying to a spiny, so I took matters into my own hands and destroyed Lakitu and ran away with his cloud. That's what you get for being annoying, dude. 5-3 is a pretty easy level featuring some pipe cannons shooting you to the next part. This is also a great stage to replenish your mini mushrooms in case you need to. Complete this stage with a YOLO leap of faith and you'll be done. 5-Tower is kinda difficult. Lava is rising underneath you, so you have to quickly make your way to the top. And let me tell you, this is easier said than done. You'll have to move on those fences that love to spin around and rotate. There's lots of fire things out to burn you along the way, so you'll have to watch out for those as well. Thankfully, Reznor is a piece of cake to defeat. 5-4 contains those mushroom platforms that only move when you are on top of them. Watch out for those that also contain Koopas, as they can be quite deadly if you're not careful. 5-5 is a bullet bill extravaganza. These flying enemies will be shot from all over the place. Thankfully, you can bounce on them as Mini Mario, so they actually help out a lot this time around. Bounce your way to the flagpole and this one will be done. 5-6 is one weird stage. You have to go down this mountain while avoiding the Koopas, plants, and other hazards on the way. This level also contains lots of those bike platforms that only move when you move them around. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty boring stage. 5-Castle contains a lot of fences Mario must climb on, but there's also these ones on wheels that can move up and down when Mario punches them. This will be used to avoid the evil plants along the way, which is definitely super cool. Speaking of cool things, the boss fight is also pretty original. To defeat Ludwig, you have to use those cannons to shoot your Mini Mario buddy up on him to knock him off the chains and allow you to do a ground pound attack. 6-1 is home of hot lava boulders falling from the sky. These things are pretty dangerous, with some moving faster than others. Make sure to stay as close to the floor as possible if you want to improve your odds of making out to the end alive. This part with the floor that can actually be destroyed by the boulders is especially very scary as Mini Mario. 6-Ghost House is a level with many rooms that all look the same. It's another epic ghost maze. Wow, so fun. Ugh. I seriously dislike this stage, as I got lost way too many times during my quests. If you end up opening the wrong door, you're sent back to the beginning of the stage, which is not fun at all. Nintendo, stop that. 6-2 takes place inside of a volcano and you have to ride this sexy dry bone lava raft. This thing looks really good. You can skip a part of this level as Mini Mario by jumping off screen above the lava, but for the second part you'll absolutely have to ride the raft to the end. 6-3 is a classic underground level featuring fire bros, stretching mushroom platforms, and lots of blocks. You can actually jump on top of some of these blocks to skip part of the stage, you know, like we could do in the original Super Mario Bros. Games. Good times. 6-Tower contains lots of fire torches that will only stop shooting fire if you hit the block underneath them. This is actually a pretty cool mechanic. It's a shame it never came back in the new Super Mario Bros. Games released afterwards. The wheel on which Reznor spin is really big this time around, but it doesn't make the fight any more difficult. 6-4 marks the return of the evil crow enemies from the original DS game, and these guys are as annoying now as they were back then. This stage is also filled with ghost platforms that are not very stable, making this stage trickier. Thankfully, this is a very short level, so you'll clear it very quickly. 6-5 contains lots of Bowser head statues that shoot deadly fireballs. You'll have to watch out for those during the quest. There's also lots of evil spiky boulders you'll have to watch out for on your path, but if you don't tilt the platform they're onto, they won't move at all and this will make your life easier. Welcome to the final stage, 6-Bowser. And this one is almost 3 levels in one. The first part is filled with lava bubbles, fire torches, and dry bones that you'll have to avoid. You also cannot make this donut platform fall as Mini Mario, so you'll have to carefully slide down this wall instead. The second part of this stage will force you to hide behind those walls to avoid getting turned into a stone statue by the Koopalings in the background. This is not going to be too difficult, thankfully. The final part contains lots of fireballs that you'll need to avoid, and after that, you'll finally reach Bowser. The fight against this dude is not very difficult. Just avoid his hammers and wait for him to jump to go under and hit that switch for a quick victory. And there we go. We actually didn't do it yet. Bowser 2 is up, and this one is not actually a fight, it's more of a stage in which you have to jump from platform to platform to slowly make your way to the top and hit the final switch. And there we go, we did it. We have saved the princess as Mini Mario. So, is it possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. 2 as Mini Mario? Yes, it is! This game is actually so focused on coins that it forgot to add difficulty. Oh, and the fact that there's only 6 main worlds also makes this quest a breeze. Thanks a lot for watching this video, my dudes. Make sure to subscribe and to hit the notification bell to know when I post a new video. You can also give this one a like if you had fun watching it. And finally, Happy New Year's, my dudes. I hope 2019 was good to you, and I hope 2020 is gonna be even better. I'll see you next year.